Hey guys, this is number 5 on your chapter 10 homework. So the limitation of GDP. Now GDP is um how does it is? GDP is not perfect because GDP doesn't measure some of the important stuff in the economy. So for example, GDP doesn't measure anything produced at home and consumed at home. So remember the definition for GDP, the number one says it must be market value. So if the stuff that's being produced and consumed at home and never went to a market, that's not part of GDP. Okay, and also um, GDP doesn't measure any um, like a black market or illegal activities because if it's not reported to the government, then we never find out how much that part of GDP is. So, for example, look at the country of Colombia. Colombia probably has a um, artificially lowered GDP because big part of the production of illegal drugs are not reported to the economy, right? So not reported to the government. So that's never part of the official GDP numbers, but they're still being produced in Colombia. And also GDP doesn't measure any resource depletion. So even though your economy might be doing very, very good because you might be selling stuff like your oil, your gas, your lumbers, but those resources are only in limited supply. And then before you know it, you're gonna run them out, right? So it doesn't measure how much resource depletion is. And also last one, GDP doesn't measure any externality, also known as pollution. That your economy might be doing very, very good because you're producing more stuff now, but at the same time, you might be causing more pollution in the economy. And also, last one, GDP doesn't measure any leisure time. So if you do something good for yourself, let's suppose you enjoy fishing, so you go fishing and then you catch the fish, you're pretty happy about it, but all this activity never involve any payment, never involve any transactions in the marketplace, then that's not part of GDP. Okay, so knowing that, let's look at the questions here. So which of following scenarios are either not accounted or measured inaccurately by either the income or the expenditure method of calculating GDP for the US? Check all that applies. Okay, so first one says the cost of overfishing and other overly intensive use of resources. So this one is not accurately accounted in the GDP because again, GDP doesn't measure any resource depletion. Next, expenditure on federal highway. Now this one we can find out very accurately because we write the check for that. Next one, the value of babysitting services when the babysitter is paying in cash and the transaction isn't reported to the government. So this one we cannot measure it because again, it's not reported to government, so government doesn't know. Okay. Last one, the leisure time enjoyed by household. So this one we don't know either because everything you do at home is not a transaction in the economy, which is never found out. Okay. All right. Last one, when a U.S. company purchases and imports automotive parts from Canada to use to build cars in the U.S., this purchase increase what? So this would be now remember we're gonna buy parts, so buy parts from Canada to make cars in America. So this parts we buy from Canada, that's an investment component because we're going to use these parts to build more cars. So this is the investment component, and then also it's being purchased by the company. Now, however, if you have a U.S. consumer buy a parts from Canada and use on their own car, there will be a consumption. Okay, but this is an investment. Okay, but this also decreases our net export because for net export is your import minus it's your export minus import. So while you have more parts for investment, but these parts are coming from Canada as an import, that will be negatively impacting our net export because net export is your export minus import. So more import, lower net export. Okay, so therefore the purchase of automotive parts from Canada will cause this will be no change because it will increase your investment but decrease the net export. So they cancel each other out. Okay. All right, so good now. Okay, we got 2 points, 2 out of 2. Okay, so any question, let me know. And that's it for number 5 for your chapter 10 homework. All right, guys, good luck.